Struggling farmer helps a 22-year-old city girl, unaware she's the daughter of a powerful tycoon. The wind rolled softly across the endless cornfields of rural Iowa as Daniel Carter guided his old pickup truck down a dusty country road. Life had never been easy for Daniel. At 54 years old, he had spent most of his life working the same small farm his father left him. The land was beautiful but unforgiving. Droughts, rising costs, and shrinking crop prices had pushed him to the edge of bankruptcy more times than he could count. That afternoon, Daniel noticed something unusual ahead, a sleek black car sitting awkwardly on the side of the road with its hazard lights blinking. "City car," he muttered to himself. As he pulled closer, he saw a young woman standing beside it, clearly frustrated as she stared at her phone. She looked completely out of place among the endless fields, designer clothes, spotless white sneakers, and a worried expression. Daniel parked his truck and stepped out. "You all right there?" he called out kindly. The young woman turned, relief washing over her face. "Oh, thank goodness someone stopped," she said. "My car just died. I don't even know what happened." Daniel walked over and lifted the hood of the car. "Well, let's take a look," he said calmly. The woman watched nervously as Daniel examined the engine. After a few minutes, he smiled. "Battery connections loose. Happens sometimes on rough roads." With a quick adjustment and a firm tightening of the cable, he closed the hood. "Try it now." She got into the car and turned the key. The engine roared back to life. Her eyes widened in disbelief. "Oh my gosh, it works." She jumped out of the car, beaming. "You just saved my entire trip. I was stuck out here for hours." Daniel shrugged humbly. "Wasn't much." She reached into her purse and pulled out a thick wallet. "Please, let me pay you." Daniel gently raised his hand. "No need. Just glad you're safe." The girl hesitated, clearly surprised. People in the city rarely refused money. "Well, at least let me buy you dinner sometime," she insisted. Daniel chuckled. "I think I'll survive without it." She smiled warmly. "Thank you, really." Before leaving, she extended her hand. "I'm Emily." "Daniel," he replied. With a grateful wave, she drove away down the long country road. Daniel returned to his farm, thinking nothing more of the moment. 2 days later, Daniel was repairing a broken fence when he heard something strange. Helicopters. He looked up, shielding his eyes from the sun. 3 black SUVs rolled slowly down the dirt road toward his farmhouse, kicking up clouds of dust. Behind them, a helicopter circled the sky before landing in a nearby field. Daniel frowned. What on earth? The vehicles stopped in front of his house. Several men in suits stepped out, scanning the area like bodyguards. Then one of the SUV doors opened. Out stepped the same young woman. Emily. But this time, she looked very different, confident, composed, dressed in elegant clothes. Daniel scratched his head. "Well, I'll be." Emily walked up to him with a bright smile. "Hello again, Daniel. You bring the whole army with you?" he joked. She laughed. "Something like that." Before Daniel could ask more questions, another man stepped out of the SUV. He was tall, gray-haired, and carried the unmistakable presence of someone used to power and authority. Emily turned to Daniel. "I'd like you to meet my father." The man stepped forward and extended his hand. "Richard Whitmore." Daniel shook it cautiously. "Nice to meet you." What Daniel didn't realize was that Richard Whitmore was one of the most powerful business tycoons in America, the owner of a multi-billion-dollar agricultural corporation. Richard studied Daniel carefully before speaking. "My daughter told me what you did for her." Daniel shrugged again. "Just helped with a loose battery cable." Richard nodded slowly. "Most people would have taken advantage of the situation. Charged her hundreds, or worse." Emily smiled. "But you didn't." Daniel looked slightly embarrassed. "Just doing what anyone should do." Richard glanced at the worn barn behind Daniel, the aging tractor, and the cracked farmhouse porch. "You've been farming here long?" he asked. 30 years, Daniel replied. "And how's it going?" Daniel gave a quiet laugh. "Depends on the year." Emily exchanged a quick glance with her father. Then Richard spoke again. "My company has been searching for a location to start a new agricultural innovation project, sustainable farming, new technology, better crop systems." Daniel listened politely, unsure where this was going. Richard continued. "And after hearing about you, I decided to come see the man myself." Daniel blinked. "Sir, I'm not sure I follow." Richard smiled. "We'd like to partner with you." Daniel stared at him in disbelief. "Partner? With me?" Emily nodded enthusiastically. "You know this land better than anyone." Richard added calmly. "My company will invest in your farm, New equipment, irrigation systems, advanced seed technology. Daniel's mouth slowly fell open. In return, Richard continued, you'll lead the pilot farm for the entire project. Daniel leaned against the fence post, trying to process what he was hearing. You're serious? Emily grinned. Very. Daniel looked around his small struggling farm. Just 2 days ago he was worried about losing everything. Now, Richard extended his hand once more. All because you stopped to help a stranger. Daniel shook his hand slowly, still stunned. Well, he said with a smile, guess that loose battery turned out to be pretty important. Emily laughed. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness change everything. And standing there in the middle of the Iowa farmland, Daniel realized something powerful. He never helped that girl expecting anything in return. But sometimes, kindness has a way of coming back bigger than anyone could ever imagine. The end. If you'd like, I can also make a viral YouTube title, thumbnail text, SEO description, tags for views upward trend.